My warm welcome to all the participants. Thank you for contributing your time. We promise this 1 hour will be of a good learning. The idea of Dream Invest specifically with this 13th session that we are conducting almost one session every 15 days is purely to increase the knowledge and the latest updates of our clients. So do be in touch with the sessions as we move further. Today's session purely will be on tax and tax responsibilities that we have. So as we come to the word tax, there are many questions that pop up in our mind. Now, what actually is tax? So tax purely means I am contributing the wealth from my side to progress of the society and the country and the economy at large. The concept of tax is not new. It has been very ancient because that is the only source where any government can create a fund for development of their country. So, but we as a taxpayer, when we look into this fundamental, the first thing that comes to me is how I can manage my tax, what are the current tax rules, which regime should suits me, what are the parameters I should look before I select my tax regime, and what about filing tax returns, what are the questions and queries. So my tax returns are filed properly and there are no questions or queries. Normally one thing that we from generations fear about a tax return coming back and a query coming back and I have to run all the way to Sachin sir to solve that. यार ये notice आया है sir 143 का, इसमें क्या करना है? So this is something we will be specifically focusing on as we move into the session. If you have any questions or queries during the session, my request is please keep them noted down. You can put them in the chat box and Sachin sir will be taking them at the end of the session. The agenda for the session is basically we will be focusing on understanding the different income heads, tax regimes and the tax rates, sample calculations and discussions on the old tax regime and the new tax regime. Will do certain sample calculations and understanding investment beyond tax. So we also need to understand tax planning is not the only part in your life. There are investments is needed beyond tax. And at the end of this session, we'll keep some questions and queries for you. For the current financial year, that is assessment year 21-22 and the financial year 2021. Normally, the year in which we generate our income, it is called the financial year, and the year in which we file our tax returns is called the assessment year. So for the current year, our assessment year is 2021 and assessment year is 21-22 and our financial year is 2021. Income basically is divided into 5 different heads: income from salary, income from house property, income from business expenses, income from capital gains, and income from other sources. These are 5 different heads where an income is derived for. Normally as a salaried employee, because in today's session almost 90% of our clients are salaried employees, what we get from our employer is called income from salary and we generate a 16A for that from our employer. Now income from house property specifically curtails to rental income. Income from business curtails to any additional business that you are doing and any income generated from that. Income from capital gains specifically curtails to your sale of any capital asset. It may be gold, it may be real estate, it may be mutual funds, equities, any other capital asset that you sell and buy. That is called income from capital gains. And income from other sources includes your interest incomes, your dividend incomes, income from any other source, may by way of gift or by way of lotteries or other things. All these 5 incomes put together, we come to a concept called gross total income. We are allowed as a taxpayer, we are allowed certain expenses in the old regime under chapter 6 and 80C and 80D. And when we finish with those expenses, we come to the net taxable income, and our tax slab basically starts with net taxable income. As a salaried employee, we need to understand here that our employer has done only tax deduction on your salary. The other sources of income your employer doesn't know, so he has not done any deduction for you there. So when you are filing your tax returns, you need to consider all other inputs put together and then only go on filing your tax returns. All incomes put together, we come to gross
There are
taxable
numericals
income,
on model
certain expenses
analysis
allowed, and
as
we
well
come to
as
net
on
taxable
the
income.
pi theorem. Is it clear?
आवाज सुधा नहीं करना.
Only one example I have solved on Rayleigh method as well as pi.
So let us come to the tax regimes. The old tax regime, under the old tax regime, these were the tax slabs that were allowed for us. Up to 2.5 lakhs, if your income is up to 2.5 lakhs, there was no tax. From 2.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs, it is 5%. From 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, it is 20%. Hello? Audible? Okay. From 2.5 lakhs, up to 2.5 lakhs nil. From 2.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs, it is 5%. 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, it is 20%. And 10 lakhs and above, it is 30%. So this was under old tax regimes. Under old tax regime, we were also allowed certain expenses. Let us say you are living into a rental house. We were allowed HRA, professional tax 2,500. Standard deduction was allowed, which was merged from your CCA, and medical allowances were merged together to form a standard deduction of 50,000. Then housing interest was allowed up to 2 lakhs. 80C was allowed up to 1.5 lakh. 80D for self, that is your medical policy, 25,000. 80D for your parents, if they are above age 65, additional 30,000. And NPS, if you are contributing for your self NPS, it was 50,000. So all this come under chapter 6, 80C and 80D deductions. These were allowed from your gross taxable income, gross net income, and then only these tax slabs were applicable. Under the new tax regime, what has happened is we have to forego all this. Under the new tax regime, you have to forego all these deductions, and then only you are allowed to enter the new tax regime. Now, when you enter the new tax regime, there is a very major change in the tax slabs. Now, if you see here, there is every 2.5 lakhs, the tax slab is going to change. So from up to 2.5 lakhs, it is nil, still the same as per the old tax regime. From 2.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs, again it is same as per old tax regime, 5%. But here these are the new slabs that have been introduced. From 5 lakhs to 7.5 lakhs, it is 10%. From 7.5 to 10 lakhs, it is 15%. So every 2.5 lakhs, the tax percent goes on increasing by 5%. So 10 to 12.5, around 20, then 25, and then 15 lakhs, and above 15 lakhs, it is 30 lakhs. So this is a mistake here. Above 15 lakhs, it is 30 lakhs, 30% of the gross income. So here your 30% was at 10 lakhs income. Here your 30% is now at 15 lakhs income. So this tax regime is allowed only if you forego all these old expenses that were allowed for us. Only what you are allowed is professional tax of 2,500 to be deducted from your under the new tax regime. So these are the basic structures of the old and new tax regime. The tax slabs 5%, 20 and 30. You forego all this benefit and you enter the new tax regime of 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%. Now the question arises, which tax regime should I select? So let us do a formal calculation. Take a hypothetical example. I've taken a hypothetical example here. Okay, let us see if my income is 15 lakh rupees and I'm going through certain expenses. Now what will be the tax regime under the old tax formula? So here with the 15 lakhs net income, gross income, I am allowed certain expenses. So we have assumed all expenses here. So this is what we need to understand as an investor. Allowing expenses is one part. What actually are my expenses is another part which I can claim for. So professional tax, standard deduction, housing interest, 80C, 80D and NPS. If I claim all these expenses, so from my 15 lakhs, roughly 4,77,000 is deducted and my net taxable income comes down to 10,22,000. Now here when I apply my tax slabs here up to 2.5 lakhs, it is nil. From 2.5 to 5 lakhs, it is 12,500. Then 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs 20% and above 10 lakhs 30%. The total tax liability along with my surcharge comes to around 1,24,000. So if I'm having a 15 lakhs net gross income and I'm doing all these expenses, then my tax liability is roughly around 1,24,000. Now if I forego all these expenses, if I forego all this and I want to move into new tax regime, then let us see what the calculation works for. Now under the new regime, if I'm having a 15 lakhs gross income, I'm only allowed professional tax of 2,500. So my net taxable income is around 14 lakhs 97,000. And then if I go through the tax slabs, up to 2.5 lakhs it is nil. From 2.5 to 5 lakhs, 12,500, 25,000. All this put me to 1 lakh 95,000. So now if you weigh both these calculations, you understand that the old tax regime is preferable as compared to the new tax regime, subject to you are claiming all these expenses. If you are not claiming all these expenses, then again you will have to go into a calculation to understand which tax regime suits you. Let us go to a intermediary calculation and try to understand. Now let us say if I am not claiming any expenses, then what happens to me? If I am not claiming any expenses, if my gross income is around 15 lakhs and only two expenses, that is professional tax 2,500 and standard deduction 50,000 is allowed to me by law. So 52,000 will be deducted from my gross income. I claim my net taxable income is 14 lakh 47,000. Then when I apply my tax slab, then my tax liability comes to 2 lakh 56,000. So sitting in old tax regime is helpful when you are having all old benefits with you. If you are not having old benefits with you, if you are not doing your 80C investments, if you don't have a housing interest, if you don't have a medical policy, if you are not investing in the NPS, then you going into a new tax regime suits you. Now, which tax regime should I select? This preferably depend upon what are your immediate goals and what are your future goals. So let us say currently if I'm at the age group of 50 plus and I don't have any of these deductions, I don't have housing interest, I don't want to do 80C investment because I'm just retiring in next 2-3 years. In that case, I will always prefer to be in the new tax regime than going into an old tax regime. But if I'm young, in my early 20s or 30s, where I have to continue my investments, where I have my housing interest going on, or where I'm planning to have my housing interest in due course, under that case, I'll have to be in the old tax regime. So this is an individual case from individual to individual, considering his current status and his future status, the tax regimes will change. Now, am I allowed to shift from old tax regime to new and back, vice versa? So the laws currently says it is not yet clear, but what was put up by our finance minister during the finance bill in February was under certain conditions you can shift from A to B and B to A, vice versa. So which are those conditions? Only a salaried person will be given an option to shift from old tax regime to new and new to old, vice versa. For any businessman, any consultant, any business income, once the regime you select, you won't be allowed to shift to the old regime or the old regime. If you select the new regime, then you won't be allowed to shift to the new regime. Now this was just a discussion by certain newspapers or certain media. Exact finalization is not yet done. This will happen only once the finance bill is passed in this monsoon session. So as we move further, who should be concerned now? The question is, who should be concerned considering your anyway, if you have any questions or queries here regarding this, you can just put it in your chat box and we'll answer them as we move further. So now the question comes, who should be concerned under this session? First, a person who has an income between 7 to 8 lakhs. A person who has an income between 7 to 8 lakhs gross income, and if he is using his 80C, 80D and housing interest properly, and if he can get his income, net taxable income less than 5 lakhs, then this person doesn't have any tax liability in the old tax regime, because under section 87(1), if your net taxable income drops down to 5 lakhs, the 12 lakh 5,000 tax is refunded to you. So under this case, the person who are in the border range of 7 to 8 lakhs, you need to sit down properly and see that you bring your net taxable income less than 5 lakhs. Under that case, be with the old tax regime and you will be benefited there. So the first call is for those people. Then if you are having a housing loan interest around 2 lakhs, around 2 or 2.5 lakhs, because the new housing loan is allowed up to 3.5 lakhs to 2.5 lakhs, and the old tax interest was allowed around 2 lakhs. If you are having a housing interest of 2 lakhs, preferably you should be in the old tax regime, because that interest along with your 80C, 80D will help you to have a lower tax requirement. If you are having an NPS account or an NPS account from yourself or that 10% benefit from your employer under 80CCD, in both the cases, if you combine it with your 80C benefits of 1.5 lakhs, preferably the old tax regime will help you more. And if you are young and planning to take any loans in future, then the old tax regime makes a good sense for you to be there. So even if you go for your housing loan in future, you can claim those benefits. So these are borderline persons who will have to sit down and take individual calls when they are focusing on their tax regimes. So what we suggest you as a consultant, don't hastily go and give any declarations. Sit down with your current year expected incomes and simultaneously also with your investments, 80C, 80D, your housing interest, do a proper calculation and you can then work on a way. We have a comparative sheet designed here and also seasonal investments. For example, currently I am doing my PPF, next year I am not paying my PPF. This seasonal investment, they will have to shift from old to new, new to old again if they do investments, if they don't do investments. So we have a calculation sheet done at our end under financial calculators, which we can share with you if you want. You can put your old tax income and new income there and do a proper calculations for you before taking any decisions. Okay, as we discussed, tax planning is only one part of your total investment. What will happen if I do a proper tax planning? If you do a proper tax planning, this tax planning can help you in a very, very, very different way for your future. Let us say I do a proper tax planning by old regime, by selecting old or new regime, and whatever I'm pocketing out to the government, if I can save that, then with an example, let us say I save 50,000 on tax. Now, if I can utilize this 50,000 properly in some different investment options or to pay my housing loans and other things, how this can benefit to us. Let us say you are having a 50 lakhs housing loan with a 20 years tenure, your EMI will be around 41,000. And the total interest that you will be paying in 20 years will be roughly around 50 lakhs. So for a 50 lakhs housing loan, you roughly repay 50 lakhs back to the additional 50 lakhs back to the bank. So it's almost 1 crore total payment done in 20 years. If you use this 50,000 rupees to pay an additional loan amount here, additional repayment loan amount here, principal loan amount here, you can reduce your 20 years term to 16 years. And your interest component will drop down from 50 lakhs to 38 lakhs. So a proper tax planning done and that amount utilized for your housing repayments can help you to reduce 4 years of your housing loan repayments. Okay, if you don't have a housing loan and if you're planning for your child education, a 50,000 rupees saved at a 10% average rate of return, a portfolio return, can help you to create 28 lakhs for your child in next 15 years. Or in next 25 years, it can help you to create 64 lakhs for your retirement planning with an average return of 10% in 25 years. So, for any investor, don't ignore tax planning. Give it a proper thought. Okay, निकल गया tax तो छोड़ दो, ऐसा नहीं है. Go into a proper tax planning. We are at the very beginning of the financial year where you can sit down and plan your tax properly. Now, tax planning, if you go through a financial planning process, tax planning is the first part of any investment planning because that is what I'm contributing to someone else. It is going out of my exchequer. So the first topic for any investment planning is tax planning. But at Dream Invest, what we say, your investment planning process should be divided into 3 prominent heads. First is your financial education or finance management, where you specifically should focus on your investor habits. You need to focus on your tax planning, outgo management and liability control. Then we come to your investment planning process, which is a 5-step process for your goal planning. And then finally, the wealth management process. This is where Dream Invest comes into picture. And as we move, let me take to the last slide and let me present you here our concept of investment grid. Now, what is an investment grid? An investment grid is a concept of understanding what I have to do in my investment process. When you go to do any investments, you are going into an unknown terrain. You don't know what amount you are needing. You don't know what will happen with the product, with the company where you are investing. So under this total process, can we do a SWOT analysis? Can I try to understand what are my opportunities, what are my threats? Can I try to understand what are my weaknesses and what are my strengths and work on them to create a stress-free, anxiety-free investment process? So Dream Invest has divided this activity into two parts, where we say one is your external market, or your which includes the economy, and the other side is the internal markets or the internal factors, that is your concern. Now the external market includes the economy, so the GDP going up or down. By default affects our investments. The company where you are investing, it might be there 15 years down the line, it might not be there 15 years down the line. So that is where again my money is going to matter a lot. The product that you are selecting, how it is helping me to create my wealth. Technical and administrative services with the product of the company, if they are not proper, there is a time when I lose my investments. For example, let us say I have a PPF account and I have an LIC policy. Now PPF, there is no reminders for me to pay the amount of time. There is no pressure on me that I should be investing 1.5 lakhs every year. So in some time I do my investment, or sometime I don't do my investment. Sometime I do the investment at the beginning of the year, sometime I do at the end of the year. Automatically these administrative activities vary your valuations. So you need a proper service provider here. And once you have created a wealth, it has to be utilized for yourself, and it has to be transferred to the next generation. The wealth utilization is something very different from wealth creation. Wealth creation, I started from the zero and I'm going up to 4.5 crores. Now I have to manage that 4.5 crores that I've created for next 20-25 years till I need for my retirement, my child education and other things. And then it has to be transferred to the next generation. So that is where your succession planning comes into picture. Then the other side, with what we move, specifically, you are more important. That is our tagline. You are more important than any other person. Your concerns, your psychology affects your wealth too much. In the total wealth creation process, any person who can support or who can create issues in your wealth creation is only you. The external factor will, let us say economy is down, it will hit your investment by 10% or 15%. But in that same economy, if you withdraw your money by taking your personal decisions, there is a possibility you might lose a lot of amount. So your decision making matters a lot. So this is where we say investor psychology, his beliefs, his habits, his concerns and anxieties matter a lot. And here we need to do something as an investor. And then the final process that Dream Invest puts up, outgo management, where you properly control your outgoes, your liability control, your personal family goals, short-term, long-term, mid-term, your risk management, considering your life, health, property, your asset allocation, how much properly you have divided your investments into capital market and debt market, and finally, the product selection. Normally, any investor jumps here directly while doing investment. He directly comes to product selection. No, there is a process. And once this is done, you have to go through that record creating activity continuously. How does Dream Invest here help you here? We have a very proper process put into place as an information house, where we continuously give you updates about economy, companies, what is happening with them. We have an administrative service unit at our end, which can provide service across any products for you, across all lines. We have a concept called as family office, where we have ties up with certain lawyers, tax consultants. Sachin sir today is going to address you on that part. So these people help us in helping you with your wealth utilization and succession planning. Then as an investor education, these are the activities that we are conducting on different education series, and the final core activity that we do, proper under the investment planning. Now this slide I am repeating in every session. The idea of repeating this slide in every session is there are certain new entrants in every session, and again if it is repetitive, this will help you to create a proper image in yourself. When you are doing any investments, what is the first decision that I should be taking? It's basically your homework that matters a lot in our investment process. So as we end this, let me tell you further. We are conducting 13 sessions. This was the second session of tax regime. The next session basically will focus on outgo management. How as an individual you should create a proper outgo system for you. Now what is an outgo system? Let us say I'm earning, let us say 1 lakh rupees per month, and I'm investing 20% of that, let us say 20,000 rupees per month, and I get an average return of 10% in the market. So by the end year I've invested 2.5 lakhs, and from that 2.5 lakhs at a 10% return, maybe 24,000, 25,000 is what I've added to my wealth. And at the 1 year, my wealth has gone from 2,40,000 to 2,50,000 roughly. But if I do a proper outgo management, and instead of 20,000, if I'm able to save 30,000 from day one itself, then you have added 50% directly to your income from day one. So this is where outgo management matters a lot. Under outgo management, it is only you as an individual that has to take decision. There is no link of any external market in outgo management. So the next session, it's basically focused on 3rd of October. We will be focusing on outgo management, how you can create what are the concepts under mental accounting, how you have to create a proper outgo management system. So this is where Dream Invest comes into picture. Thank you for sharing these ideas here with us.